Yes, my name is Marquetta Alexander. I'm a proud participant of the Stockton University doctoral program. I participated as a member of the cohort three. Cohort three. And it was a wonderful experience. I taught for many years. I have 22 years of experience in education, public K-12 education in Paterson, New Jersey. I'm originally from there, born and raised. And I'm married with 2 children. When my youngest was 9, we moved to Montclair. I've been living there for about 12 years, although I remain teaching in Paterson Public Schools. I did some careful research, and there were several great programs out there, but it was something very unique about this one. I really liked the fact that they had a trans-organizational program. And I was really attracted to the various backgrounds that I knew I would be exposed to by coming to a program like this. And it was so important to me to just have a new experience. I had done so much training and education that was so specific to that arena. And so it was nice to just come together every other weekend with professionals from all different backgrounds to hear their perspectives and to see how they could contribute to leadership. I have nothing bad to say. I think like any doctoral program, it has its highs and lows. It's a challenge. You're being stretched and pulled from every angle. But I like that. That's what I came here for. And I was definitely challenged in ways unimaginable, but in a very good way and in a way that shaped me very well for what I wanted to do going forward. And so I really liked, again, just having an opportunity to be exposed to new people from different backgrounds to talk about new things in a different way and to use all of this in my own practices in completing the program. Oh boy, quite many. I think probably the most vivid experience, it's been a few years, so I can't remember the exact course number or title, but we did a lot of reflective work. And never had I participated in a program that really encouraged you to just dig really deep inside to understand what moves you, what makes you passionate about anything, what are your drivers, and how does this all relate to leadership. And it really, really shaped the framework and understanding I developed for realizing how important it is to play such a role in an organization. Yes, I can tell you a lot about that because I spent a lot of time on that research. So the title of my study was Enhancing School Climate. It was School Climate and Leadership Capacity, and looking at it from a vertical leadership approach. And what I wanted to understand better was how leaders lead and what the drivers are behind their decision to behave in a particular way. And so with vertical leadership, it spoke to the many different levels of leadership. And I think as someone new to this concept, it really helped me to better understand how to meet people where they are. We know leadership can be such a broad topic, and people come in many different shapes, forms, you name it. And so having a way to not personalize how people behave or respond to certain things made me prepare myself for leadership in a really vast way. It definitely had a positive effect. As I shared earlier, I taught for 22 years in Paterson Public Schools. I knew that I wanted to transition and change my career a bit for some time, which is what motivated me to start searching a doctoral program. And by studying leadership more broadly and then focusing on diversity and inclusion, I knew that was just an area I wanted to focus on. It really helped because it gave me focus. It prepared me, I think, both academically, practically, in a practical manner. And it really changed my view and understanding of leadership, what good leaders do versus, I won't say bad leadership, but just how to lead in a different way and how to take more things into consideration. And I have to say that had I not experienced many of the projects, the activities, the discussions in this program, I would not be as confident as I am today leading. Teachers, I will always love teachers, not just because I was one, but because I truly understand the amount of work. It's complex work, and a lot of times it's not understood that way. And I'm saying that because so much of what you do in education, particularly as a teacher, is so transferable into other roles in other organizations. And so, even having a better understanding of leadership and taking a deeper dive into it, you realize, wow, I'm leading in a lot of ways all the time. I'm constantly making decisions on the spot, wishing I had more time to consider certain things than not. And so I think I started to tie the two together and just realize that, wow, a lot of this I'm already doing, but it's just making better sense to me now. Now that I'm understanding, I've been exposed to new concepts and, again, new people and how it's done at this organization versus another, because that exposure is given to you in this program. Excuse me, it really, really prepares you in a way that you don't really realize at first. But then when you start to put it in practice as you're dealing with people and making new decisions, you realize that, wow, this learning, this development of my own is really helping me prepare for a new position. And so I spoke to a lot of it in my interview at RWJ Barnabas. And of course, you want to impress people when you're interviewing. So I was happy to have that effect. They were really impressed by what I shared and the ways that I chose to go about developing my own self. And I believe it really contributed to me landing that position. It affected who I am as a leader forever. I think I've matured through the program. I think anytime you begin to make reflection a regular part of your daily life, you can only grow from that. So I think through maturity, through being more self-reflective, through being more considerate of others and how people behave and just the world around you as a whole, it has a tremendous impact on your life. It is life-changing. I'd say do your homework, research different programs carefully so that when you choose one, you're confident participating in the one you settle on. Definitely look at this one thoroughly. It's very different. It's worth some extra consideration. And again, it offers what many other programs just do not. And that's the exposure to people from all different backgrounds, all different fields that can really, really add to the learning environment. So I entered the program with a lot of uncertainty. It was my first time. I'd never been in an educational program at this level. And so all types of things go through your head. Is this for me? Am I good enough for it? Is there really something for me to gain, or can I truly be an asset to it? You just have question after question. But I have to say, so the first class, we had orientation, which was very informative. And then there was the first class where nothing made sense. At least for the first few classes, the first few meetings. I'm sorry, not the first few classes, the first few meetings. And then after participating in discussion and drawing charts and then having some lectures and all of the different components that made up the coursework, it slowly started to come together. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. Amazing. So, so while it did have a rocky start because of my own uncertainty and even some insecurities. It later fell into place. It made sense. And then I just started to feel so confident and happy that I enrolled in the program, So I think, again, it's important to do some careful research so that when you do settle on your program, whether it's this or any other one, you are confident that it's something you want to do. I think that's probably half the battle so that you're not all but dissertation. And I think it just became so exciting and so thrilling. And because I was careful to pick a topic I really cared about, there was no way I was not completing this. I knew I would get it done. Not to mention the support, just great professors, a great program, hands down. And I would not have chosen another. So coming from being a teacher, to now offering trainings in a healthcare system was very, very different. In fact, this was the only job I applied for in healthcare. I was really looking to remain in education for a little longer, or maybe branch out into higher ed. I was totally fine with going back to corporate, which I was preparing for as well, as long as I could go back in a role that would allow me to do some type of training, because that's my niche. I love professional development. So when I was hired by RWJ Barnabas as the Director of Diversity and Inclusion, there was a lot of public exposure involved. I was very uncomfortable with that because I'm such a behind-the-scenes person. And there was a lot of training that needed to be done. I thought it would be more so with the nursing staff, but it turned out it was more needed with the nursing leadership, physicians, and so forth, which is great. But I had to really go back and kind of revamp some of my presentations and things like that, learn some scenarios, learn some of the commonly used jargon so that I could relate to them as best as possible. And I had a moment of reflection where, in the midst of all of this, where I'm like, wow, I just finished teaching students and now I'm training nursing leaders, CMOs, and physicians throughout our network. And it was pretty amazing. I got excited. I was fired up to just learn again, right? Because you're constantly learning in a leadership role. And it reminded me of something that was said in a few courses. And it was mentioned how you need to prepare to be uncomfortable most times. Because when you're in leadership, you're constantly faced with uncertainties. It was called VUCA, a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous environment, right? And it's a lot of that in healthcare, as it was in education, but probably more so in healthcare because of COVID and so many other things that impacted this industry. And so going from teaching classroom students and sometimes teachers to high-level, skilled clinicians was very different, but absolutely amazing because I feel so equipped and so ready to do this kind of work, thanks to our doctoral program.